What's going on, YouTube? How you doing, everyone? It's again, I say it every week. It's just been a mad time in the markets recently. We're luckily we just had a little bounce here in the stocks, but I mean we did breach that 4,000 mark in the S&P. Nasdaq hit that 11,000 handle, and it's been pretty wild. And that has also filtered through onto the crypto space, where we've had the cryptos really sell off. So a lot of the altcoins are down a good 25, 30, 40%. And I mean, the reason for this small pod today is more to get away from what we normally discuss and really just talk about Terra, Luna in particularly, and the UST, which is the Terra stablecoin, one of the major stablecoins on the Terra ecosystem, which basically gets most of the volume. Now, I've been trading for about 20 odd years, with varying degrees of success. But again, when crypto came around, just the degenerate gambler in me, a degenerate trader in me, wanted, it's just another asset class to trade. And obviously, I get involved in the whole DeFi space was very, how should I put it? It's, very intriguing to me. So, I've just been playing relatively small, but I've got my hands spread over a lot of pies over in the crypto space, from Bitcoin to Ethereum, Solana, Terra. And Terra, well, just literally about a week and a half ago, the native Terra coin, the Luna, which is the governance token of the Terra ecosystem, trading about 110, 120, and it was in the top 10 of cryptocurrency coins. In the UST, which is the main stable coin in the Terra ecosystem, was trading, had a market cap of close to, well, I can't remember exactly, but close to 20 billion. It was about 17, 18 billion. And since then, we've seen a massive unraveling. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about, from my understanding, what is happening and really, what might happen going forward from here. So before we go into the price action, I just wanted to quickly do a brief introduction on, for those who might not know, what is UST and what's going on with it. So basically, Luna and UST, like I said, is part of the Terra ecosystem, and Terra is a decentralized payments ecosystem based on the Cosmos blockchain, and it basically uses fiat-pegged stablecoins to create cryptocurrency that does not fluctuate with cryptocurrency market, hence mitigating the vulnerability of a volatile cryptocurrency. And the Terra ecosystem's most widely used stablecoin is TerraUSD, UST, and again, a bit like Ethereum and some of these like Solana, it is a blockchain capable of running its decentralized applications. So the native token on Terra is Luna, which is used to secure this protocol stablecoin, and it's also enables users to vote for network governance, which is so the thing here, unlike Bitcoin, for example, Luna does not have a fixed supply because it changes to the number of stablecoins in the market. So we'll go into that in a second. So how does the UST peg work? So the thing is that with UST, it's caused a bit of controversy in how it maintains its peg as a stable currency. So supposedly USDT, USD coin, Binance coin, the other major three stable coins, they are backed by treasury assets. USDT apparently is backed by treasuries, bonds, some dollars. And although we've never seen a full audit from them since they refused to do one, but the thing is, supposedly the assets are backed by dollar denominated assets. But the UST is actually different, and it's actually tries to maintain its peg based on an algorithmic formula, to my knowledge. So it's basically using supply and demand dynamics between Luna and UST to try to maintain this peg. So it's supposed to keep its peg by a process of arbitrage. And in its most basic form is, if UST rises above $1 due to strong demand, for example, traders can swap exactly $1 worth of Luna for one UST, and that and theoretically they could immediately sell that for actual USD, and hence you'll make that small bit of profit, resulting in the arbitrage. And conversely, if UST supply rises and pushes it below $1, then traders can use that peg mechanism to swap UST for exactly $1 worth of Luna. And then that will, in theory, will reduce the supply of UST as you're burning that Luna to get it back into, burning that UST to get back into Luna. And then they can immediately sell that Luna and pocket the difference between the two. And it's that mechanism which is supposed to keep the coin around that $1 mark. And on top of that, it's until the last couple of days, it's 19 point, almost a 20% APR for staking your UST. So it was very desirable to have your UST pegged, UST staked, and earn a nice 20% yield on it. So it obviously did attract a lot of staking to that protocol, and it's also helped lead to the rise in the Terra protocol in general. Now, yesterday, well, it's been brewing over the last, this week basically, but we've seen Luna get absolutely smashed. So what actually caused the initial, run on Luna? I don't know, but I guess it's just generally the overall sell-off in the market. I mean, Luna was literally about $110, $115 not that long ago, and now it's trading just above $15. So it's dropped around 85%, obviously due to large outflows and intense selling. And so the UST peg is, the job of keeping that peg is done by the Luna Foundation Guard, short LFG, and what they have is a bunch of assets in their treasury that in such a scenario, they will use those assets to buy up UST to try to get it back towards that peg. So there has been some large withdrawals in the UST, and it was initially, I think we had about $5 billion worth of withdrawals in a very short amount of time that put a lot of pressure on Luna. So that saw Luna sell off, and then it sort of started to unravel, and then we just saw this big decline in Luna, and then the peg being broken as Luna was basically just going one way. And the fact that for this to really work, Luna has to have a higher market cap than UST, but now UST is lower market cap. I mean, Luna is a lower market cap than UST. So the thing is that the lending platform did note that total value locked on it declined, and most of the investors on the platform pulled their investment, resulting in total deposits on the anchor falling by about $5 billion. And that was as of yesterday. So it's currently down from 14 billion to 9.3 billion on that protocol. So this was yesterday, and we'll look at it what it was today, but we've seen that this was the reserve balance and the Luna Foundation Guard, and we were just above 4 billion literally about a week ago. And since then, once we've seen this run on Luna and run on UST, you can see that LFG has been intensely drawing on its reserves to now being standing, as of yesterday, at just about 150 million, about 150 million in Terra reserves and 94 million in USD, and the reserve balance has gone down dramatically, and that did help stem the loss in UST. It went from like 67 to 92, and today we've seen it going back down again. So as of yesterday, they did have about just under $1 billion in Bitcoin in that treasury, but they've now used that all up again. So this was the price yesterday. So you can see here the peg at $1, and then you could start seeing it give way a bit. It went to about 98. People started to get a bit worried there, and then it went into the mid 90s, low 90s, and then it just went. And it went to below, it went to low of around 67, I believe. And then it sort of bounced back into the mid 80s, and now it traded just above the 80 mark. And then here's Luna. So Luna was trading on May the 9th around 60. If we look further back than this, it was trading around 120, but it actually went to below 30 yesterday, late in the evening. and then settled around 35. So if we actually look now what the price of Terra is, so let me just refresh this, it's actually at 78. So we can see that yesterday when we took that screenshot that we just had in the slides, it bounced from 67 all the way up to 68. And then we saw that yesterday in the LFG, there was about $1 billion worth of Bitcoin still in the treasury, but that was all used up and it was helped. They used that Bitcoin to buy back UST to push back up the price, and we actually got it above 90. And then overnight it settled above 90. So the peg was getting close back to that $1 mark. So they did pretty well to do that. But then this afternoon, just at around 4 o'clock Eastern time, the peg went again and it actually hit a low of 70 before bouncing. And now we're trading at 78. And so what I believe has happened now since they'd drawn down on their Bitcoin is that they are selling lots of Luna to try to maintain this peg. So Luna, we can actually see, well, if we look at Luna price, which is, where is it? Oh yeah, here. So we can see it's down 50%. It's actually trading at $17.20 now. So it was trading around that 30 mark, which we saw yesterday, but you can see around 4 o'clock, Luna steadily declining. And then from the tweets and from some Twitter comments, it looks like the LFG are selling cheap Luna to try to restore this peg. And so we actually hit a low of $15, considering we go 7 days out. Look at that. Literally less than a week ago, it was trading at 87. It's on 15 now. And if we go back 14 days, yeah, you could see it was pretty stable. And then how we've just given way massively in terms of Luna. So here I just want to look at the reserves. So we saw in the slide that there was about $1 billion worth of Bitcoin reserves, but you can see now that there's 0 Bitcoin left in reserve. And in fact, their total reserve balance is now 195 million. They've got just over 100 million in Terra and about 94 million in AVAX. So you can see that they don't really have much in terms of reserves to try to support this price, since they absolutely rinsed it yesterday, pushing it back towards 90, and now it's 78. The question is now is what's going to happen? I mean, how they're going to keep on maintaining or try to maintain this peg, given that there's still so much sell pressure. I mean, you know, pretty much any project or any coin on the Terra ecosystem is getting destroyed. You know, a lot of these IDOs, a few of these IDOs I got into, like LuArt and a couple of these other ones, are all down massively. So it's not been a good time for people on the Terra ecosystem. It's been pretty like some massive wealth destruction on that. So we can see now, yeah. So we had 4 billion worth of reserves back just earlier this month, literally like a week ago. And now we're sitting at just about 100 million. So trying to see like what the next step is for Luna. You know, Do Kwon, which is one of the founders of this ecosystem, I believe. You know, he's been tweeting. And they did note that they're devising a plan. Earlier this morning, he said close to announcing a recovery plan for UST, hang tight. And then just around 53 minutes ago, well, that's when I last checked, you can update it now. Yep, he wrote, getting close, stay strong, lunatics. So clearly they're all working behind the scenes on some type of rescue plan to try to get that peg back towards the $1 mark. But as you can see, it's the market, it's difficult to try to fight the overall market forces. And if we actually look back and see what is the, so you can see Terra still has a market cap of around 13.7 billion, but you know, just under $7 billion worth has traded. And you know, if they keep on being withdrawals, people freaking out. It's going to be very difficult to try to maintain this. And Terra, which had a market cap of almost 35 billion, now is worth 6.6. So it's virtually 28 billion wiped off the market cap. So this is the TerraUSD Twitter page. And if we look at what they're saying, they're just basically retweeting a whole bunch of stuff. Yesterday they did note that the liquidity behind the scenes amid material UST peg deviation on third-party venues, and they're fighting back, and then they're going to provide more updates. Hang on, fam. Here are some resources to combat the misinformation. So you can see that they give all of this. So yeah, so they give a lot of this information, but again, you know, regardless of what their plan, regardless of what they're going to do, everything really comes down to market demand and supply. I mean, if people, you know, if people can, if the selling stops or just minimizes, if you get a bit of a maybe overall rebound in the stock market, overall risk assets going up, you might get a bit of, might get some, you know, easing on the selling pressure, but realistically short term it looks like this peg is done. And the fact that they did not really have any real monetary assets behind it, and it was all algorithmically based on demand supply dynamics of between Luna and UST, it's hard to see how you know, how short term anyway that they're going to sort this out in terms of it being a stable coin. It's now just going to be, you know, now trading at 78, just going to be trading like any other coin. It's going to trade like an altcoin. It's down about 25%. So, and I mean, if you look at in general over the last 7 days, Bitcoin is down 20%, Ethereum 18, Binance 18. We've seen, you know, a lot of, you know, the average, you know, top cryptocurrency down between 15 and 20%. But obviously the big one, which is really the catalyst for a lot of the crypto weakness, in my opinion, is Terra, Luna, which is down 80% in the last 7 days, which is just wild. And yeah, so anyway, so I hope this was my best explanation of what's going on. And in terms of what's going forward, well, you know, I can't imagine the project folding, but surely it's gonna really make people think where they want to, you know, build their dApps on and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that project. But to be honest, being the trader I am, going to try nick a couple of cheeky Lunas in the 17 buck mark. You know, why not? You know, a week ago it was 80. Even if we can get back to 30, could be a double up. But, you know, what's the worst going to happen? Go to zero, playing it small as usual. And yeah, so we'll see what happens. And yeah, we'll mention it on the next one. All right, please like and subscribe if you like what you hear. Please feel free to comment, and we'll catch you on the next one.